Hey guys, we have Eric and Nick with OzoneTCG. We're taking a look at the Colosseum's Championship Series number 1. We had 108 players, 36 teams. It was a 3v3. We're going to go and take a look at the breakdown right now. So it looks like for this tournament we had, again, out of the 108 players, 20% Sword Soul, 14% Invoked, 50% Lyrilusk, 6% Virtual World, 6% Prank Kids, 6% Dragon, and 33% others, most notably the Machina, Mech Knight, ABC, Salma Great Crusadia, and Magical Musketeers. I think this is like pretty indicative of the current metagame, at least before this ban list. The only thing I think we noticed was this Prank Kids representation. So it's probably, 5 or 6, judging by this, the 6 Prank Kids players we saw actually play the deck, and it was really the only difference we saw in the meta. Nick, what did you want to say about this specifically?
It's crazy that more people are on Prank Kids right now than Striker, Drytron, and Noblish. I guess and Family. It's all 4 of those. The first 4 decks were I feel way stronger if you thought about what the meta was going into it. I mean, Virtual World. I know a lot of people just like Virtual World. Yeah. So that kind of is shocking too. But I feel like Striker, Drytron, Elvish, and Famlites are all better decks than Prank Kids and Virtual Worlds going into this event.
Yeah, I'm impressed that it's I already knew that Drytron was gonna fall off. I think most of us did. I'm a little surprised that Famlites didn't even make at least 5 or 6 players. It just seems like it really would have done that. Even if, only one player on a team was playing it, it seems like that's what it was. I don't actually remember if any topped. I know we had a few Sword Soul, Invoked, Lyrilusk, and the Prank Kids. We could talk about the top cut in just a minute. But yeah, a little impressed. And same with the Prank Kids, that how they really just kind of snuck up out of nowhere. I know Ozone discussions were always that we still thought Prank Kids was at least playable. Maybe not better than the other decks we had currently, but it wasn't bad whatsoever, even with Mew at 1. But this is way different than what we've been seeing for the past about 2 months now. With the way that it is.
Yeah. I also think it's crazy that Dragon got more deck representation than all the other first decks. Even Flunderees, it blows me away because I don't think Dragon right now, I guess we could say Prank Kids, both those decks, we both know they're good decks going into the I don't think anyone said Dragon's a bad deck, and I know people probably are Prank Kids isn't as good, but truthfully, it's the exact same deck. They just have a little worse follow-up, which really doesn't matter.
Right.
So, I just I couldn't imagine people just playing Dragons at more than any of those other decks. I feel like Striker would have been a lot higher because I feel like a lot of people just play Striker. Maybe it's just what I played against, but it's just it's astonishing, and I'm happy Prank Kids did well because I definitely think that deck is under the radar because it really didn't get hit. I think missing 2 Meow Meow or whatever the card's name was, it does hurt, but outside of that, bro, you're doing the same turn 1 plays, you're doing everything, and as long as you have a Pandemonium or Fusion spell, you shouldn't really need another Meow Meow. So yeah, I'm very happy to see that deck do well.
Yeah, that card comes up just a few times, your turn 3 or turn 4 or whatever, but it just feels like how it used to before Meow Mew came out. Otherwise, I guess we can take a look at the top cut now. So we had 7 Sword Soul, which was approximately 29%. The percentages are going to be off. I think it adds up to 99, what we had approximated, again, with the decimals and everything. So we had 29% Sword Soul, 7 players, 5 Prank Kid players, which was 21% of top cut, 4 Invoke, 17%, 2 Lyrilusk, Virtual World, Drytron, those were all 8% each, and then the 1 Striker and 1 Dragon Link player, those were 4% each. I think, again, other than the Prank Kids, everything is pretty standard. But of course, the Prank Kids had a relatively high conversion rate. I think it was out of the 6 Prank Kids players, 4 or 5 of them topped. That's kind of a lot, and it's a little bit skewed because they had fewer players overall. But the fact that you had more Prank Kids players topping than Invoke players is quite interesting. Do you have any insights on that? I'm not exactly sure the exact reasoning why.
I just think Prank Kids just has a lot of room for a lot of non-engine cards. So basically, the deck can change to whatever the format is. Unlike some decks, for example, for Virtual World, there's at least 25, 30 spots in that deck where you really can't change much because you just need to play them. Like, you need to max out basically on every virtual world card that isn't the Indian or Tutu.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you play Tuchuche, one of the trap, and like you probably playing Desires, or you probably playing,
It's pretty much, I wouldn't say solved necessarily, but it's pretty close to it. Same with Sword Soul. They're like 2 or 3 card differences between most builds.
Yeah, most builds are basically the same at this point. Some play DP, some don't. I think that's like the biggest difference. But outside of that, most like tinny lists are like 3 of all the tinny cards. Desires.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, there are only a few card differences. Same with, I think, Leerlusk. Leerlusk Cry Brigade, really. There are very few differences. Invoked is kind of up there. There are some like tech card differences, particularly in the side, which we'll see in a minute. But otherwise, that's really there really aren't too many other decks that can really offer a lot of flexibility for this format, because it's pretty much over. I mean, we're going to see ban lists within the next week or two. YCS,
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
I was going to say, I think a reason Prank Kids also is like a pretty good sleeper pick. Everyone's playing Valor and Imperm, and like Droplets, Chalice, I think I already said Imperm. So yeah, like all those cards, like I would even say Dark Ruler, but that's a little bit different in this spot, because Dark Ruler really can't be used defensively. But but all those cards are just really bad against Prank Kids. And like if every deck's playing those cards, it just makes your Prank Kids even better. Because like Imperm and Valor literally do nothing to that deck. So like having every deck having 6 to 9 dead cards in their deck is just unreal. Yeah. So like it just makes your matchups even better than they should be, because your deck's just inherently beats those cards.
Yeah, the only card you can really Imperm or Valor is Doodle Doo, so they don't get the search, but even then, often that won't even matter. And because people aren't really maining Nibiru right now, which does hurt Prank Kids to an extent. If they want to get that Doodle recovery, they have to play into Nibiru. It seems like that may be a reason, definitely a qualifying factor. I was surprised that, like I said, more Prank Kids ended up topping than Invoked. Though the Invoked players, the first place team, had a really good roster of players. It's still surprising. I'm a little surprised. I don't know, my experience is different than most people's. I feel like, obviously, Window just sits on that deck, but there are of course tools built specifically for this event that you can play either through Window or just like sit on Mystic Mine.
Yeah, I'm also shocked how like low Leerless Tri Brigade did.
Yeah.
I don't know if that deck's just falling out because it does have a small consistency issue. Because if you don't open Turquoise or Bird Call, you're just really playing a really mediocre deck at times.
Yeah. Feels like a watered down Tri Brigade deck.
Yeah, like I think you'd just be better off playing like basically the DP Rescue Cat deck with like the Tri Brigades, because like it may not be as flashy and as cool, but I mean, it's not hard to just summon DP and use every like non-ninja card in the rest of your hand to like win the game.
Yeah, that was also interesting with the Prank Kids things, which we can see. I think only one of them was actually playing DP. I could be wrong about that, but of the 4 lists I saw, only one of them was playing the DP engine, which was kind of interesting. But the others were playing like, all of them basically play like Droplet, Lightning Storm, Mystic Mine, Cosmic. Some of them are playing Nibiru. But they're all playing like generic cards to either go second or just normal summon, do your Prank Kid stuff, and then have like 4 or 5 defensive cards.
It is also, I guess, good to note that was there like 4 Drytron or 5 Drytron in the tournament, 2 of them topped. I guess that is something to note.
It is higher conversion too. Again, I think that's a little bit skewed though, only because of how few Drytron players there were compared to every other deck.
Yeah, I just Dragon Link getting 1 spot does not really surprise me. I just think that deck it's good at times, but it is like very mid. Same with Sky Striker. Like, I don't know. There's so many times where you can draw dead with Sky Striker, because like you can open every card to break boards, all the hand traps, but at the end of the day, if you're not seeing Ray, or it's not hard to clear like Rose, especially if you don't have the Ray, the deck struggles. Yeah. And also, I mean, you can still brick in that deck so easily, because you're playing like less of the field spell, and like I mean, going first, what does that deck really end on? Like maybe a couple Woodwinkers, maybe whatever Floodgates if they play any of that, maybe a DPE.
I think it shifted really to a more of a go second build, just because it's harder to set up cards going first, because there are so many blowout cards with like Lightning Storm, people playing Cosmic or Twin Twisters in the side deck everywhere. So I think a lot of these decks are just having Striker go first if they happen to lose game 1 or whatever. and then they just kind of don't have a whole lot of outs to it necessarily. So like if you just go Lightning Storm, like I don't know what else Striker can really do. Like they can float, but then you still have to play through your board. You still have to try and recover everything.
Yeah, I think none of this Top Cat really blows my mind. Like 7 Sword Soul, I think everyone's aware that like that is probably definitively the best deck. Not like, I think it's just most consistent for like how many like things you put. Like you put in like these like lowest amount of like card resources and you get like the most out of it. So actually, also we haven't mentioned this, but Protos, that card's absurd. Like
Yep.
You can't really
that is indeed a card.
If you like, look at this breakdown, outside of like Invoked, all the other decks, I mean, yeah, Drytron, Striker, Dragon Link, all those decks are like way in dark, and all the other decks that did well are not way in dark. Crazy.
Yep.
Like Leerless, Virtual World, and Prank Kids are all of those decks just don't use Lace and Darks.
Yeah.
And if you're calling Dark against Invoked, like that hurts DPE, but like they can still use Ecclesia and Alistair, so.
And they can still summon Merkaba.
So practically you're really only hurting DPE in that matchup, unless you're going. I mean, game 1 if they main it. I mean, yeah, calling like games 2 and 3 definitely does hurt, and I think that's like a small turnoff to the deck, but at least there's ways to like solve that as we'll like see the deck list. But yeah,
so we'll go and take a look at the first place, one of our old pals. His team actually got the first place. He's been playing Invoke for at least 3 or 4 years now. So his deck is a little bit different. He doesn't play the same cards his teammates did. He played like 2 Ghost Baldasai. His teammates didn't play it at all. But he was maining Harpy's Feather Duster and the 1 Mystic Mine, obviously, because Terraforming exists. Sometimes you just want to search Mystic Mine instead, because some decks literally just don't have an out. But they were all playing the exact same extra deck, which I think that's pretty standard now. The extra deck for Invoked, I think right now is pretty much solved because of how much the format is right now. It's basically the end of the format. Nothing else to say about the extra deck. There are no techs or anything, besides the standard cards we see. Main deck, I mean, it's pretty standard Invoke stuff. Side deck, I think the only interesting card is there can be only one, but that's about it.
I think Ghost Spell is pretty interesting. I don't think many people play that anymore.
Yeah.
But Ghost Spell does kind of like respect the mirror, because you can basically hit you can hit Invocation and the Deer, which are like the big 2.
Yeah.
So
assuming they don't have like Meltdown for Invocation, it also negates Schism. That's pretty good too.
Yeah. All this is only if they don't have the melt. Well, at least the last 2 are only if they don't have the Meltdown.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that he mained. I guess they mained Nibiru and Duster. I don't know if they all mained. I don't think they all mained Duster, but
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think, this list is pretty standard. I think 2 Invocation is like pretty normal at this point. There's not really much to talk about, to be honest. I guess Nibiru, but aside of that, it's very standard. The deck's really consistent. Like as long as you get 2 of the engines going, you're probably gonna win. So
this feels like the perfect mid-range deck right now. Even though I love Sword Soul, I think it's not the same kind of mid-range as Invoked, where even if you negate Alistair, which has always been the most, I'd say the worst choke point in the deck, they can still go into Almirage and into Secure Guard. You can still go Ecclesia Effect in the hand, or Nadir Servant, whichever one you draw, and then still have access to either Schism or Punishment, potentially both, with Maximus. It's just very strong. And then you have all the disruption cards you could want too, because he plays 50 or 12 going second cards.
Yeah, I'm mixed feelings about this deck, because I personally don't think this deck is that strong, but I understand why it's so strong, because cards like Nadir Servant are insane. You basically get to play every good card in the game. Like, if you really think about it, like Alistair by itself is a negate. You got Prosperity, you got like the best pop you could argue, better, almost as good, if not better than Desires. Nadir Servant, that card's like a +2. Nadir Servant, truthfully, should be at 1. That card is unreal how good that card is. It's good going first, second, third. It really doesn't matter. You get to play,
It's all, like I said, it's literally like the perfect mid-range deck, because all of your cards are like medium power, like 1 negate or a +1, potentially a +2. And that's all. That's the entire deck. And you just play some defensive cards. It is the it's the definition of mid-range.
I don't know if we're gonna see, like, if let's say the format continued for another 6 months. I don't know if we see like an evolution of like deck building, because this deck is really good against hand traps in like theory, because you can't use all 3 of the engines in the first like turn 1. If you open Alistair, Nadir, Fusion Destiny, you can't do all 3.
Right.
So, like, I don't know if we just see like less hand traps, because then their deck building is just a little bit worse, because you're just gonna always end up dead cards. But with a deck like this, I'm sure you could just wait a turn and then you're still gonna be fine, because most decks can't like OTK you through like an Alistair plus Schism, or Nadir plus Fusion Destiny. So.
Yep, I agree. All right, and then his teammates lists, they are card for card the exact same thing. Dimitar didn't play the aerial at all. He didn't play it whatsoever. And his teammate cited a Mystic Mine as well. I guess that was the only real difference. The 3 Ecclesia, I saw people early in the format playing just like one of these cards, since you can recur it with Nadir, but I can see obviously the reasoning for it in like now with the way the format is, playing the 3 just against hand traps.
Yeah, it's basically literally the same list. I mean, he's playing, it's like a Mystic Mine and an Aerial, and I think the Aerial's cool. I can see like that card just wins games, and especially when you like go for constructs, because people just don't see that coming, to be honest. Or you just like Nadir Servant sending off Apple.
Yeah, it's very good versus decks. The Mirror, it's very good versus the Mirror. Good against Prank Kids in some situations. Kind of okay versus Sword Soul. Good versus DPE builds, too. Any deck that's playing DPE,
I think that's
just
what it's probably really for.
Yeah,
like Aerial just straight up destroys the DPE engine. Yep. It's so easy to trigger with like Nadir Servants, Maximus, and the Punishment.
Yep, you can banish all the Destiny Hero cards. That's really the one thing that people are most concerned about. Beyond DP's floating is the ability to also draw 2 the next turn. Obviously, the floating, the destroy 1 each turn is incredibly strong. Obviously, the best feature, but it helps versus a mid-range, say the mid-range Mirror, where they do need the draw 2, especially if you're able to break through all their cards.
Yeah, like I would say like for any of those DP Eldritch decks, like you're just gonna get so much out of like your low investment. Like you're already plussing probably off whatever card's sitting in, and like that's just like salt on top of the wound.
Yeah.
So I definitely understand. I find it interesting. They only cite 2 Token Collector. I don't know if their deck just easily destroys that deck and they just don't really care. I will say I really want to know how well Nibiru did for them.
Yeah.
That's the card that like.
I think that's the card.
I understand. Yeah, it's like the only card in the deck list that I'm like I can question, because I'm be honest, all the other cards are just, why would you not play them?
Yeah.
Like I'm not a big fan of droplets, but like when you have free cards like
Meltdown,
yeah.
Yep. You just don't even matter, or like Prosperity Chain droplets. Like, what are you doing? Because like I said, literally mid range, you can afford to do a lot of that, and the nice little interactions. Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of how all the cards he plays are 3-ofs. Also, like I like that's my favorite thing about this deck. The more 3-ofs in your deck, probably the better it is. And you can droplets and extra prosperities, your extra.
And the only 2-ofs that he has are the Invocation, which I think is standard. I don't think I'd ever play just 1. I don't think I would ever play 3, and then the Token Collector, and then I guess technically the Mystic Mine, but in the main.
I mean, you have a Terraforming, so it's a 2-off. So
yeah.
And going second, it's a 3-off with Terraforming.
And the Token Collector, I think it's fine to have even a 2 Token Collector just because it's for a specific matchup. And that's what always has bothered me about the format, is that you have to you kind of have to do 2-ofs at some point between like Dark Ruler and Token Collector, because you can counter so many different decks. But yeah, alrighty, we're gonna go. So yeah, exact same list like I said. And then of course, your Sword Soul. This was interesting because he is playing 2 Ash Blossom, 2 Valor, 2 Vishuda. People are like, not divided necessarily, but it's, you have the difference between the 2 Vishuda like and the 3.
And the same with the Trap card. I've seen people play 2 of that instead of 1.
Yeah, I think overall the 1 is just better, because with the inclusion of Heavenly Dragon Circle, the Valor and Ash ratios are interesting. Some people are just playing, usually the standard is 3 Ash Blossom, potentially 3 Valor or 0 Valor, depending on how many Vishuda you play, whatever, a bunch of different factors. But otherwise, the side deck is very nice. I like this side a lot, especially with the D-Berry we've been seeing. That's really good versus Invoked. That does shut them down. That's nice.
Yeah. My favorite thing about this guy's list, he plays 3 chalice over 3 droplets, and I think that just proves the point that I think most people overvalue droplets. Like droplets shouldn't be in every deck because most of the time it's just a -1, and I don't know, but people are just fawn over the idea that you can go plus, but like
it's good. It's really good in mid-range decks, but I would consider this more of a combo deck than anything. But it's like good in Evil Twin because your cards are free anyway. Good in Invoked because your cards are free anyway. This you don't necessarily want to be discarding cards, and the cards you have on your field you kind of want to keep because they are strong cards.
You don't really want to discard. Like I can understand why you would want to discard the tinnies.
Yeah,
I guess
that's it though. But you need them for your starters.
Yeah, you need to open 1 tinny. So for you to use droplets and discard a tinny, that means you'd already have a tinny in place. So like, it's so extra. And on top of that, I will say he's not playing Vessel, so that's like, or Vessel the Dragon Cycles. I'm pretty sure that's the card name.
Yeah. The Foolish. Yep.
So yeah, the Foolish or add if you have the dude. So I guess that's note. Outside of that, I mean, Crimson Blader in the extra deck, that's cool instead of the 3rd Monk.
Yeah, that's the only card I don't like. I just don't. I don't think it comes up enough. But I could see for this event if he predicted, a bunch of invoked players, a bunch of mirrors, anything like that, where you would be seeing more level 8 or highers, or excuse me, level 5 or higher, specifically level 8 because level 8 synchros are huge right now. Level 8 and higher fusions like Construct Makaba, the other invoked fusions, can't summon those. I could see it, so I wouldn't say anything else about it.
Yeah, I will say I do find it weird that like there was a hot period where people weren't playing Dragdite out because I never understood that because it seems like the only way to end on like maximum disruptions if you open all the names and all that with like the Monster Reborn and like Taie is to end on Dragdite, the level 8 Synchro plus like Baron. Which, I mean, if you didn't play that, I don't know what you're ending on because ending on Berserk seems so average.
Yeah, like, he wasn't playing Nibiru, but theoretically, if you played Nibiru, you could also excavate it, bounce stuff. That's a nice little interaction if you played it like in the side. Wouldn't come up too often, but it's nice.
I think also people just sleep on Dragdite because people always forget you can summon it off of like Taie or Moye.
Yep, and get your free card in the graveyard. Especially because people are playing Shithana, the Water Tenyi more for the play with Heavenly Dragon Circle. Now you can't summon Dragite to turn you use Ashuna, or after you resolve Ashuna's effect rather. But having this Shithana in the graveyard does make Dragite live.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy to go Moye effect. They're going to try to, like, Imperm Valor. You just chain the quick play spell, search the water one.
Yeah.
Summon it, and now you get your Dragite live.
Or like Taya, if you Taya and then you want to go into Dragite, you can just mill Shithana, because Taya Foolish as any Worm or Sword Soul card.
Exactly. I mean, I think this is probably the best deck, without a doubt. Yeah. It's kind of like hard. I mean, yeah, the card in the top left corner, Protos, is just, I mean, that card literally beats half the decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! So, like, it's really hard to, like, say this deck isn't the best when it has the best, like, boss monster, to be honest.
Yep, I agree. All right, and then VW, pretty standard. I'm not going to go too deep into it. Again, pretty much solved. He's playing the Dragoon version.
This guy's only playing 2 Desires. Oh, no. Yeah. Poor guy. I hope Max, in the future, plays 3 Desires.
The Beatrice in the side, I think, is the most interesting thing. But again, that's because he's playing Breaksword and Utopia Beyond. Not too much else to say.
Yeah,
pretty standard.
Poor guy, still playing Dragoon too.
More invoked. He's playing Droll in the main. We weren't sure if that was great. He's playing Tactics. I love that card. That is my favorite spell in the game right now. The 2 Prosperity and 2 Ecclesia, 2 Ash. Kind of memes. Oh, also the 2 Cosmic. Again, kind of memes, but it's whatever. It's cool. Oh, in the side deck, he's playing the 2 Nibiru, 1 Droll for the playset, and then 3 MST. I don't know why you play MST necessarily, but that's cool.
I think his reason is to play around Lancia.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's probably the reason. He probably want to play Cosmic. Because he's already playing 2 Cosmic, so I assume you... But outside of that, yeah, I mean, out of all the invoked lists we've seen, this is my least favorite. I don't really think Droll should be made. I also, like, I understand why people play Tactics, but, like, there should probably be 3 Prosperity.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if Tactics is like it does fit the
like mid range.
Mid range, your deck doesn't really why you're playing the hand trap you want, but I think him not maxing out Ecclesia, wow, that like it hurts. It really does. Like I don't know why you wouldn't want to play 3 Ecclesia, like and also 3 Ash. Like you could make this list so much better by like just
Yeah.
checking the other ones. His extra too, like it's not a bad list. Like half the deck is the same, so it's kind of hard to say it's bad.
There's a little variation in the engine cards you play besides like maybe 1 or 2 cards. I had nothing else to really say about them. Then we're getting into the prank kids. These were interesting. This deck especially. This list I think was my favorite of the prank kids. Just again the 3-ubs. I love to see the 3 and 1. My favorite thing. He's only playing 2 of the field spell, and I think that's fine. And then 2 of the token summoner pranks, which again fine. Same with Roxy's. 2 Roxy's is pretty standard. The skill drain was interesting. Don't see a whole bunch of decks in this format playing skill drain otherwise, other than maybe Eldritch.
I think you have Eldritch, maybe some Virtual World.
Yeah, and then Mystic Mine, because he may have been going second, or if he was just anticipating going second, whatever. Same with this deck. This is, even though this is like technically a combo deck, since you play a bunch of cards to play with each other, because place just replaces itself with one of your Prank Kids monsters, you can afford to play Droplet in this deck too. I think it's fine. Any deck like that has a field searcher like that, invoked and Prank Kids, I think it's fine.
Personally, just do not think Droplets should be played in Prank Kids, but I mean, the card is just at times so strong it really doesn't matter if you can get punished for it.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Same with like Live Twin.
I feel like, especially that if you're only playing 2 of the field spell, like even like lesser, I think you should probably play 3 field. Personally, I would play 3 field spell. I find it weird that his list is 3 cards.
Yeah.
But I'm sure looking at this, you can't really cut anything.
We could probably cut the tactics, to be honest.
Yeah, or the Thunder Dragon fusions those are like not old techs but older.
I think people play just to keep the like engine going. In case now you don't. It gives you like a little bit more follow up.
Yeah, in case you don't have pranks or anything. But he was also playing the double, and he's playing the double Butler. So pretty cool though. Otherwise, I'm glad to see this deck still represented. He plays Link Spider, of course, for Nibiru.
He plays. He doesn't play Toad. I guess we.
I don't think you need it.
I don't know. Oh, he's not playing Polly. I guess that we should talk about that.
I didn't even notice
Which
that.
is crazy.
I think Cart's pretty good with the deck.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way they played it last format was like the superb way, playing like Polys and all that. So it's a different take. I think this feels like a going second list, but with tactics, I don't know, especially with skill drain in the main. But I do like it. I mean, I think Prank Kids is just a really good choice, especially with like if you think about it, Veiler, Imperm, those cards, Droplets, all those cards suck against what's it called? Not Tinny, Prank Kids. And like against Tinny, going second, like you have cards that like make that matchup better. Like, the big one being Mystic Mine. They can't sudden shift you if there's only one target on the field, so that's good to know.
Yeah, and I think he's just playing instead of the. So he's playing the 1 Lukrembo. Not really sure why.
Is it for pranks?
Maybe. I guess you could play. If you want to use your Link Spider, for the token. I actually don't even think that it's a level 1. I'm not positive.
I will say, I just realized I was like Mystic Mine should be Tinny, and then I thought about it. I was like, man, no, it doesn't. Doesn't Mystic Mine only get worse because Tinny plays the quick play Heavenly Circle?
Yeah.
And they can just end phase tribute. Like, am I missing something?
Oh yeah. So it is for the Prank Kids pranks because the token is level 1, even though it doesn't really fit with everything. But yeah, that's what it's for.
I'm sure it's just to make Verte. I assume it's just to make Verte.
Yep. In case you want to play around Nibiru and not have to use your Link Spider, that's all it's for.
I guess Lukrembo is better than a second Link Spider, which is weird to say, but I guess it also beats dinosaurs. So yeah, there you go.
We have the DP version. So of course he's not playing Lukrembo. He's playing Double Verte. I mean it's not a whole lot.
The Doom Eagle's really cool.
Yeah. That's cool.
Man, these lists are just so crazy. This is obviously feels like a going second list with all these cards in it, but like to play a going second deck with a trap card in your main deck, that's bold, bro. Especially like I feel like Skill Drain. I don't know. I feel like all these decks are all trying to just beat Tinny, and they just probably don't. This deck does not seem like it would beat Invoked at all.
because
Yeah.
like there can only be one is like okay because randomly most of their cards are spellcasters, but it doesn't really beat.
But if they have if they've already set up a board, I guess it's go second, and then potentially go second, and then clear their board, set be only one, and then they can't do anything. You know, rebuild their board. That's the only theory I could think of. But the Doom Eagle's cool because it's the 2 wins. You can make that off of Doodle Doo and Fansies. As DP, that's the only thing. But it is cool. I will say then a link material for access code and another win that you can banish instead of your Doodle in case you want to reserve your Doodles. But yeah, I like it.
The guy has lots of spell and trap removal on his side.
Yep. I mean, the deck is like struggles against a lot of trap cards, so I can understand why.
How does his deck go first? What does he side out going first? Does he just take out Dark Form No Mores?
Probably, yeah. Just for
Cosmic?
Judgment, maybe Cosmic, maybe Joel. That's about it, though.
Man, yeah. I mean, his deck is like pretty decent going first, but man, it's just some of these lists just blow me away. Like I don't think this list is bad in any means. I just couldn't imagine theorying this deck.
True.
Like, man, it's just so crazy. Like, I would have never thought about playing There Can Only Be One in a going second deck. That just wouldn't cross my mind. I think I'd rather prioritize cards like Cosmic or Lightning Storm.
I could see
Or
it.
just-
I don't think
Or
it's
just
great.
like, or like another hand trap, like Ash for something simple or Imperm.
Oh yeah, that was interesting. He wasn't playing really any other hand traps besides Droll on the side.
Yeah, and also this looks like a going second list, and obviously we could be wrong, but I mean tactics in a going second list, like I can understand why, but I don't think tactics is actually that strong going second, especially with this deck. Like I don't know what to draw into to make your hands really that. Oh, he's only playing 2 Pandemonium too. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It definitely is a going second list just because of the Dark Ruler, lack of hand traps. Who just wants to draw power cards like droplets, like Dark Ruler, like Mystic Mine, especially with the Mystic Mine. Then at worst, if they have some kind of negate or disruption for Mystic Mine, then you can just prank its combo and then set be only one. Also interesting, which again, kind of a minor detail, is that he's playing 3 Roxys and only 2 Fancies. Again, probably 4 there can be only 1 because the token. Prank its pranks, he's playing 1, no desires or anything, is a Pyro.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's Prank Kids. I think this deck did extremely well, just mainly because he built his deck to be tinny. That's what it looks like, at least.
Yeah.
And what's it called? I mean, I think you could just probably stop them in a turn or 2, and they just won't draw their like Mystic Mine out in time.
Yeah, probably.
And I also think the biggest reason Prank Kids did so well is because it just beats Imperm and Valor so badly.
Yep.
And like every deck having like 6 deck cards is absurd.
Yeah, I agree. Alrighty, well that's our take. Kind of a long video, but that's our take on the Colosseum Championship Series. Hopefully we'll see a few more. I think they're having these every week or so, maybe every month. You can view my Discord. Hey guys, if you guys liked the video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.